Hello, and welcome to episode 10 of ToonamiGAF podcast. With me this week we have Raxus.
I regret everything.
I'm sorry about that. And C. Kohler.
Hey guys.
And so we were going to have Seda, but Seda's just not around. Thanks, Seda.
I think his evil twin killed him.
History of Seda recently. He's not around.
What a surprise comeback, though. Nobody expected it. It was kind of worth
Good
it.
to have you, it is good to have you back, Seda.
I was worried. I was worried he was going to miss the episode of One Piece in 2 weeks.
Well, we'll get.
But fuck it, we're already going down the One Piece future train. So, shit. It always happens like that with One Piece. It's like, oh man, I can't wait till 5 years from now. And it's like,
I can't
we'll
wait.
probably be dead.
One of my favorite summations. Watch the One Piece go on for like 20 years, and then he reaches the One Piece, and then he finds out he's not just he became king of the pirates, but there's still more in space.
Yeah,
Space!
It's funny enough. They've hinted as much, so might as well.
Sure. I mean, if they end up in space, fine. Fuck it.
And without on the most tangential of things, the manga's been making me mad because it's like, oh man, this manga chapter is really good. Oh, by the way, I'm going on break for a week. Fuck!
Every month, it's like, fuck, break time, and that's back when, after Golden Week, chapter, break, fuck! Anyway.
I've been enjoying the manga, and that's all I'm going to say about that. Okay.
Toonami! Actual Toonami. Hooray. We're at 11:30 again. We didn't get to cover this in the last episode because we didn't have an episode last week because nobody fucking watches marathons.
I watched the marathon.
So, why do we think we're back at 11:30? Is it a Samurai Jack thing? Is it just a, why don't you guys take 11:30 again thing? I don't know.
Well, did you guys notice what they played after the block?
What did they play?
Aqua Teen Hunger Force, of all things. It wasn't even Family Guy.
Or King of the Hill, usually. I used to King of the Hill coming on after the block.
It was I was kind of like, okay, well maybe, there's different ways to look at this. Maybe the block is doing well, and they wanted to move it up an hour or a half an hour, because for whatever reason. It kind of seems like that's less likely, but maybe.
Maybe they wanted to treat Family Guy viewers into watching anime.
I guess, I don't know. But then what I really expected, though, was that at the end of the block, okay, here comes whatever, American Dad or whatever, right? But a rerun of Aqua Teen Hunger Force, and I'm just like, really? That's what you're putting there? So, I don't know.
It's like, we found the tape lying around, so fuck it.
Maybe that
Toonami's really fucking weird. I mean, I'm not saying Toonami. Adult Swim's really fucking weird.
Oh, but I just realized we were talking about, stuff replacing Gundam later, and it's like, hey, but I realized it has to be Samurai Jack, right? Unless they're getting it 11 o'clock.
Well, Samurai Jack, every time I mention that in the thread, people are always like, oh, that's a million years away from now.
No, it's late. It's this year.
Is it really?
Yeah,
okay.
It's confirmed.
I thought it was going to be like, maybe at the end of the year.
Fully Cooley is 2017, 2018.
But they said they definitely said 2016 for Samurai Jack.
And I think they said June is when we're going to get more information. So this month.
Wow.
We'll see.
No things about Samurai Jack.
Here's what I've got my Samurai Jack fingers crossed on, is that they don't pull some kind of weird animation switch where they decide to do it 3D or some weird like Powerpuff Girls style or. Well,
I mean, they can't.
But you know what I mean. But they certainly could. I mean, I don't know how involved Genndy Tartakovsky is with this. I know he's involved.
The Adult Swim guys would not allow that.
I would hope not. But I just kind of have, that's my secret fear, is that and I wasn't even a big fan of that series. I thought it was good, but I didn't really watch it religiously. But when it was announced it was coming back, my first thought was like, oh, they're going to do this like they did that Powerpuff Girls reboot from a couple of years ago where it just looks bizarre.
Don't you mean right now?
Well, I haven't seen that.
That's not bizarre. That's bad. But that's a whole other story.
But it actually looked like the original. There was like a reboot from like a couple years ago that looked bizarro, It
But
had
it was really well
but
animated. It was really
the same.
solid. Yeah.
And this new one is just like, God, what the fuck? I've only seen the GIFs, but I'm definitely not going to watch the show after
I
seeing
feel
the GIFs.
really bad because I'm pretty sure someone on GAF works on that show. It's like, maybe.
Well, he
maybe
probably
pull up.
knows. He knows better than us. He knows.
Well, maybe a better example would be like the Teen
me
Titans. The Teen Titans Go, which I know is not a bad show because it's apparently pretty funny, but it's that same thing where they took the Teen Titans and then they just like made them look completely different.
Teen
And
Titans Go is basically why action cartoons in the West are dead in a nutshell. It's because,
Yeah.
well, we're going to make it for kids, and kids will just as easily watch a comedy show, so why bother with a more expensive to animate action show? Why the fuck would we do that?
And that winds up canceled 2 seasons, and for whatever reason.
Because it's like, well, we could just be, doing a comedy show instead.
I think they could quell a lot of fears with the Samurai Jack if they just showed us a couple of stills. I think that would be fine.
I'm sure they'll have something to show soon. But yeah, as far as mainstream mainstream animation though, it's either your comedy or you have to sneak into an action show as comedy, like Steven Universe.
Yeah.
No, if I tell them we're an action show, we don't want to be canceled.
Yeah, but getting back to the original question, though, I'm as baffled as everybody else about why the shift happened. I mean, it could just be another one of those, that's what the ratings told them to do type things, I guess.
I think I can't say for certain. Like, I think they usually were pretty solid, but I don't think the ratings ever justified the cost of the shows, because you saw what happened to Korra, Justice. I was supposed to say Justice League. I meant Young Justice.
Oh, I think we've moved back to talking about the block getting earlier now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry.
And in that case, Gundam is fucking Old Faithful. Or, I mean, DBZ is fucking Old Faithful at, 12 o'clock now.
It was pretty funny seeing like 2 or 3 people pop into the thread and they're like, "What's going on?" because the times were different.
I know we can't. I think I made a post in advance saying the block starts at 11:30.
Well, those are the people who, they only enter the thread during Toonami, and then they don't ever enter it outside.
Yeah,
Toonami.
no, that's one of the most bizarre things about this announcement. So, like, we're doing it came like right before the Memorial Day weekend, I believe, when we were doing right before the marathon. And it's like, oh, by the way, we're at 11:30. Bye.
I mean, it almost feels like they didn't see it coming.
Right, I agree with that completely. It definitely struck me as Adult Swim programming came to Toonami and said, "Hey, by the way, guys, you're 30 minutes earlier now."
And they probably were like, "Fucking hell, sure."
Yeah. It'll be really interesting. I'm sorry. I was going to say it's going to be really interesting to see what the ratings are like this Tuesday, tomorrow.
So one would assume that most everything should get kind of a bump just by virtue of being on a half hour earlier, because when you're on that late in the night, the simple fact is that some people just aren't going to be able to stay up who would otherwise watch stuff. So
yeah.
Except for One Piece, because One Piece is suffering.
Except for One Piece, and so that kind of leads into the next question about the block move, is that, what does this mean for future show acquisitions, especially in the case of the Champloo replacement? Because before we started, we're kind of like, before the block move, we were probably kind of like, well, this is the old show that we never got to show slot, and now it's like, hey, well, now it is at it's airing at a time they were comfortable airing Hunter x Hunter, so. Yeah. Maybe it's, kind of now it's back to being a new show slot, but not a show that's so expensive, because, like, they probably won't get like a JoJo or a One Punch Man in there, because, you can't have, those shows are too big to be airing fourth in line.
Well, I would say they could get those shows and then just change the lineup. I mean, seems like a more logical solution.
But they could only bump down Hunter x Hunter. There's no way those would bump down Gundam.
I don't know. It depends. Like, if we're replacing it with Jack, I won't be surprised if it's like a funded show for it to premiere the block initially. But we'll have to wait and see. Again, we didn't expect the block to move up to 11:30 period for the longest time. And
I'm remembering back to when we were showing like Soul Eater and stuff, and I remember it premiered like in the second slot, I think, and then by the end of its run, even before the show had ended, it was all the way like 3 or 4 or 5 slots back.
Well, I think a lot of shows did that. Like most notably, Tenchi was like premiered. It started in the second slot, and
Tenchi
then
was
they could not shove that,
poison.
but they couldn't shove that down the block fast enough.
That was ratings poison.
They just were like, I think they shoved it down without even waiting for lineup changes.
Did they ever say why they aired that?
Because it had Tenchi in the name, they didn't watch enough of it, and they were at a time where they just needed shit.
Yeah, it was cheap, and it was Tenchi, and I think they just grabbed it without thinking.
They thought it would get better. It did not.
It got so much worse.
And so
that was good though. That's a great hate watch though. I don't mind a great hate watch.
That and SAO I think were probably some of the best hate watches in the block's history.
So the other question I now have is that Parasite is now airing at a time when they were okay airing One Piece. And so my question is, what if maybe Parasite also gets replaced by a new show? Because they could just bump down Naruto Shippuden and One Piece again and have them be in the same place.
I think they'll keep the rerun slot. We'll see. I wait to be surprised, but at the moment, I don't know what show they would rerun in Parasite slot because now we have a bunch of long runners and there's.
They could have been. I think they might, if they can still get it, they might put Final Act in there. Because I know they said, hey, we're not getting Final Act, but one, that might have been a lie.
Or Cowboy Bebop. They haven't shown Cowboy Bebop in a while.
Yeah, didn't they show Cowboy Bebop HD for like 3 episodes and then they stopped or something?
Yeah, well, that was when the block got eaten.
That's right.
Or I guess, if anything's going to replace Parasite in that rerun slot, it might be Champloo.
Yeah, or how about Space Dandy? The show they own?
They can. That's the thing. The problem with Space Dandy.
Space Dandy, shut up.
The problem with Space Dandy is that since they own it, they can air it anytime they want. So there's never any rush to air it. So they never air it.
Yeah, that's too bad.
It really kills me because every time they showed the first season 1 3 times and season 2 once. And season 2 is just so good.
There will always be a recently aired show that they still have the rights to that they can run again.
And even if they did bring it back in that rerun slot, it'd still start at the first season again, I guarantee it.
Yeah.
Parasite's done. Okay, we need to pick another show, and Akame got killed.
Well, oh my god, no.
I think we're safe from ever seeing it again.
Yeah, I think they probably heard enough feedback from that. I would also say, too, though, that I think that what they do with that slot probably has less to do with its time and more to do with just their budget. So it's probably almost completely dependent more so on how much money they have to spend. So reruns obviously don't cost them anything.
Right, and they probably don't have the money for 7 new shows.
Right, maybe not. I mean, we can't say for sure, but I would think that the number of new shows we have now is probably directly proportionate to the amount of money they have to spend.
Right, and it would be nice if we got another new show slot because even though Hunter x Hunter is a great show, the loss of that slot for 3 years kind of hurts.
Well, that's my thinking though too. Is that I see what you're saying. I was about to say, well, why don't we just shift everything and insert a new show at the beginning of the block, and then everything is technically new. Even One Piece would be at the end of the block, but it'd be new. That would actually work, but I don't know.
Toonami right now it's constantly surprising me. Like I didn't expect Hunter x Hunter. I didn't expect to move back to 11:30. So
I didn't expect Gundam.
I look forward to being surprised again. Who knows? They announced Fully Cooley season 2 in frickin' Samurai Jack. Who knows? Who knows what could be awaiting us in the future? So
they must have
keep
some
surprising
plans
us, Toonami.
Yeah, they must have some plans if they've already got shows in production.
They've said over and over that this year is like their biggest year yet, and it's like for me it's almost there. I mean, I think they put more stock into Dimension W and Gundam than I do. But Hunter x Hunter, but on paper, it's like, hey, we got a new Funimation show airing almost concurrently in Japan. We got
Dimension W felt like a show they just grabbed because they needed something to fill time.
I don't know.
I mean, I think
One Punch Man's dub wasn't ready yet.
well, it was like the first dub premiere or whatever. I don't know what you call it, but when it's only like a few episodes behind in Japan. That was the first time Toonami did that, and I think it was worth it just for that because it did get people probably to tune in. But
It did decently in the ratings too, if I remember correctly.
I almost feel like anything you put after DBZ can't do that bad, unless it's like fucking Tenchi.
We'll see, especially with the new ratings and everything.
Yep. Okay, so let's move on to the block. Now at 11:30, Dragon Ball Z Kai episode 73, the Super Namekian powers up, Piccolo versus Android 17. So Seiya was pretty hyped about this fight.
You deserve to be. It's a pretty awesome fight.
At the beginning, I was kind of like, oh, it's more Dragon Ball Z fighting. It's beam spam and punching and people teleporting around and kicking each other from behind, and yay. And then they just started getting into this ridiculous knockdown, drag-out brawl, and it was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it definitely felt like a different fight than normal. I was kind of like, whoa, this is really brutal. Which is kind of funny coming from a show like DBZ where people get punched into next week and into mountains and stuff.
And then they come back.
Yeah. But it really did. It was like there was like lots more impact to what was happening for some reason.
Yeah, it was really nice to have. It's like, oh my god, fighting in my fighting anime. It's strange. It was nice to have a knockdown brawl, and then Cell comes to ruin everything, which is a shame because I would have in an alternate universe it would have been nice to see how that fight panned out.
Piccolo gets his ass kicked.
Yeah, most likely. I'll tell you too that like maybe part of what made this fight so good was that there wasn't all the like 3 punches and then stopping to pander at each other about how awesome they are and then 3 more punches. It was just non-stop punches the whole way through.
I think the next few fights in DBZ are actually pretty solid, with the exception of one, but.
So, what else was in this episode?
Bulma figured out the androids something about an off switch. Like from Star Trek, I guess.
And it's like, okay, Krillin, you just need to press the switch and make their heads explode. And he immediately is like, but one of them kissed me. And is a girl.
Oh yeah, I forgot about
that.
Like,
yeah.
Oh, I can totally see how this is gonna end.
In the back of your mind, no. I mean,
even if I hadn't seen the abridged series, it'd be like, oh, I know exactly how this goes.
I am so surprised that they went there. I mean, for the record, One Piece is really the only show I've seen ahead on right now on the block. So I haven't really even seen DBZ outside of that. I know like some major plot points, I guess, but I haven't seen these episodes, and I really was kind of like, are they really going to try, based on that 2-second moment in that episode like 5 episodes ago where she kissed him, like suddenly he's just fallen for her already?
But you don't understand. Being Krillin is suffering, and that little kiss was probably the highlight of his fucking life.
And I will say this, Krillin's freaking great in this arc, and I think it may have been the Bridge series that made me love him even more, but yeah, Krillin is, I love Krillin during the whole Android Cell saga. Even if he does think with his dick.
It was pretty funny. I mean, like, not intentionally, though. It was funny because I was thinking to myself, oh, boy, they're going there? That's funny. You know, what's he going to protect her at some point? I can see that coming. Anyway.
I am going to rock that little man's world.
I think that was it for this episode, though. Just a long fight.
Can we just talk about, like, how crazy outdated Bulma's hardware is with like the super. It's just like wireframes in this like Windows 95 PC.
I mean, this arc was written in like what, the early 90s?
Yeah. Well, it's probably written before that, but drawn and animated, I don't know. I guess I don't know, maybe early 90s. I guess I don't remember, but man, I didn't notice that.
I had to laugh.
Does it look like she was using like Windows 3.1 or something? I didn't notice.
I mean, it just was like real quick wireframe of the androids before.
Oh, I do remember that shot now. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's a tiny thing, but and DBZ is usually good about avoiding the whole futuristic technology thing. But it's the one thing that I thought was
I
kind of fun.
plugged the schematics into DOS.
At least it's not freaking CSI. Oh, we'll hack them through GUI interface.
I
love that.
CSI was my first favorite show.
Okay, but I think we're done talking about DBZ.
Yes, now we can move on to Mobile Suit Gundam, Iron Blooded Orphans, Episode 1, Iron and Blood.
Oh my God, Gundam's back! Thank God.
Great creative title there. In a world where nobody can wear a shirt.
Comes man service. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty obvious what they're going for there with those designs, because like they even pop like some kind of mechanical thing onto their back, but nothing would prevent them from wearing a shirt with a hole in the back. It's like, no, we're just gonna take our shirts off.
That's the Elia, I can't stop myself from saying the Alada vagina system.
Oh yeah.
But that's like they're like the super enhanced child soldiers, and it's like, fuck you, we put shit in your spine.
I don't mind it. I mean, I've said a million times in the thread that like I don't mind fan service of any kind. I think fan service is cool. I like it. I think it's part of anime that makes it fun. But I would like this a little more if maybe there was a female pilot. Is there going to be one of those?
You're such a pervert, CK.
I'm just going there, I don't know. But anyway, no, it's fine. I mean, it's what it is. It's the no shirts thing is a pandering in a weird way, but in that it's
CK,
like doesn't appeal to me. Go ahead.
Just your Master Roshi, and we'll be done with it.
Well, I think once they get into space, spoilers, they get into space, but.
Oh, okay.
Space and Gundam? No.
Well, like I said earlier, I've not seen this show, and this is my first Gundam ever. I've never seen any Gundam. All I know about Gundam is that it has giant robots that fight each other, and apparently a lot of political stuff, and that's it. That's all I know.
And yes, this was basically the most Gundam of Gundam opening episodes. I mean, you meet a bunch of characters, and it feels like it should be a 1-hour episode because just as things start to get started, it ends. Yeah. But what can you do? I enjoyed it for what it was. I can understand why some people are a little bit upset, but honestly, if you ever watch a Gundam show, this is usually how they kind of start out.
So I liked it. Aside from the fan service, it's like the other notable aspect of the episode was just how many characters were introduced to, and just kind of how little it dwells on introducing those characters. Is like, hey, character name, blah 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 blah. It's kind of like
I didn't mind that though. I liked that. I don't mind when they just drop you in and it's like this is happening and you just have to kind of catch up. I'll tell you this much: as little exposition they gave us, as little character buildup that they gave us, I still found this episode infinitely easier to follow than most episodes of Dimension W.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, not to mention, you get to know the important characters. At least the main players, which was Orga and Maki, was it?
Mikazuki.
Thank you, Mikazuki. And I think that was so we got to see with thanks to the flashback, and you get to look into their personalities, so you have a starting point with those characters, and you can get to know the other characters as you go on throughout the series, like with any series.
My only complaint about the episode I saw was that I don't like this like unfeeling protagonist trope where the guy is like, this girl is being really nice to him and it's like, oh, can you help me? And she's just like an ordinary person in every respect, and this guy's just like completely oblivious to the fact that she exists.
No, like, that wasn't. I don't think this is. I think he, because it was kind of like, the handshake thing was like, oh. So it was. It
was before that even. Like he was genuinely being like disinfectuous to her. I don't know what the word is, but basically just like disregarding that she existed to a certain extent. And I just felt like, hey man, you don't have to be a jerk. Just say hi.
Well,
I don't know.
If I can dig into this a little bit, one, this kid has been a child soldier since it looks like he was 6. So he just kind of probably shut all those emotions down. So I understand why they went this angle. And two, if you watch giant mecha animes, this is the pilot you get: either a firebrand, like
Kamina?
like Kamina, or you get a weakling like Shinji, or a whiny weakling like Shinji, or early I'm Simone.
Simone, yeah.
Yeah. Or
Yeah,
you get just somebody who has no emotions,
well,
like
it's not
Hero
no
in the original
emotions.
Gundam Wing.
Yeah. Well,
Those
I
are the
guess no
three
emotions.
archetypes you get.
Yeah, and
Choose
it's
one.
more like it's like those characters that just care about the fighting. Like I am a pilot, and that's all he cares about, and like everything else in his world doesn't exist. Just I am a pilot. And there's women. There's a beautiful woman here. I'm a pilot. I don't know. There's something about that rubs me the wrong way, but it's okay.
But like I said, I think with Mikazuki, and I knew someone was going to get into this. I understand why he is the way he is, because
Yeah.
the first shot we see of him is literally after he murdered a guy.
Yeah. Oh, I hope that the series does good to kind of fill that in. I mean, it's a trope that I see from time to time. You know what I'm talking about, where you get that character who is like, all he cares about is the job. And it's like, there are cool people around him, but he doesn't engage in them for whatever reason. Anyway, that was my only complaint. Everything else about that was really good last night, on Saturday. I liked the animation was really good. I thought that moment towards the end when the Gundam appeared was really hype. I was really hyped up at that moment.
I love the Gundam's design too. One of the best Gundam designs I've seen in a while. Especially
it looks good.
Rekko. God, Rekko's Gundam looked ugly to me.
Like, all the Gundam designs just kind of flow into one thing for me.
I like this Gundam design.
I haven't, again, having not
I've only seen 2 Gundam shows, but if you put any random Gundam, I mean, even if I had seen more, if you put any random main protagonist Gundam in front, it'd be like, oh, that's all of them.
I saw a small player of the OG Gundam, G Gundam, Gundam Wing, and Gundam Build Fighters, Gundam Build Fighters Try. So I've seen a ton of different Gundam models.
Macross is kind of the same way. It's like most of their giant robots look similar. Like they all have kind of the same faces, I guess.
I think that's the thing with the Gundam. They changed it just enough so you can recognize different models, but it has to have that kind of unifying look to it to be called a Gundam.
No.
So that's why you see a lot of the common features. The paint job's usually white, and you have like a little gold mouthpiece and all that jazz.
So
we'll see. I'm looking forward to seeing more of it. Yeah.
I guess we should talk about the promo, because basically for the promo they just remade the Gundam Wing promo, like almost shot for shot.
It's a pretty solid promo.
Yeah,
it works.
They brought back the God voice, which is something in the past that they've deliberately said that they wanted to avoid.
I feel like they've been moving back towards it recently. Like they realized that, we still have to do it because these new shows, they're just not explaining their plot well enough in the first few episodes.
This one's got a kind of a complicated start to it anyway, so I think it was necessary. They did the same thing with another show where they thought it was too complicated to get across just using clips from the first episode.
I think it was Dimension W.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dimension W definitely had more than past this first episode. This obviously has clips from the second episode, as we're going to see soon enough.
It has clips from the third episode, especially the last clip, which is pretty spoilery, but
it's pretty awesome too. I can't blame for putting them in.
When I saw that part in the show, I was like, "Oh shit!"
But I'm thankful that I think this combined with the first episode has me hyped for this show. I'm looking forward to seeing more of it. So, knock on wood, it turns into a pretty solid Gundam show.
In the very least, they've appeased many, many old Toonami fans just by airing this, probably. People who are always like, bring back the old shows. Well, this is a Gundam show, so now you've got your Gundam show.
Like DeMarco said, if he had his way, he'd always have a Gundam on Toonami, and it's kind of like, hold on, a lot of Gundam isn't great. Maybe don't do that, but he can't do that anyway, so.
he avoided a lot of landmines picking this Gundam because there's been some bad Gundams as of late, and this one's a pretty solid one. So
He even
Yeah.
said as much on pre-flight. He said that like if we were going to get a Gundam, this is a good one to get.
yeah, the I will say this though. Yeah, oh shoot, I just completely lost track of my train of thought. So I go
Train
on.
of thought, leaving station, arriving in Rome in 15 hours.
Uh, as a Gundam series, yeah, just don't get attached to too many characters. It's very much a space opera, so lots of politics, lots of death, and it makes for a very interesting dynamic. It should be pretty entertaining to watch. So yeah, we meet a lot of characters in this episode, and you also get some of the most Gundam of names like Orga and Biscuit.
Fucking Biscuit.
Of course, they named Biscuit to the one fat character. Good job.
And his sister's names, man.
I mentioned it in the
We'll
thread.
talk to them soon.
I mentioned in the thread too. It's like he's also the one guy who doesn't take his shirt off. Not
Wait.
surprisingly.
I was honestly looking for Tumblr. Just shortlist.
Even like the worm,
Yeah,
even like
okay.
kind of like the wormy beer gut guy, like child beater guy. Even he gets like some shirtlessness. Like,
I was
he's always
hoping to have like Biscuit doing an Armstrong pose.
more like he would be more like a, what is it? You know, Curtis. You know, the Izumi's husband from FFA.
Yeah. I know who
He
you're
like
talking
the
about.
big
Yeah.
bear guy. But no, he's just that guy's fat. Fine.
He's fine. He's
and-
fine.
And,
And I don't even mind
and
that
his
he's
name
called
is
Biscuit.
Biscuit.
Because
Oh,
hey, you know,
there's one thing I wanted to talk.
It's
talk
probably
about,
just a
though.
nickname or something. Go ahead.
I do enjoy that one, he served a purpose, and two, they actually had some smart strategy in this one. They knew the guys were going to probably run away, so they used them as diversion, which is really neat. You don't usually see strategery in mech anime. It's usually punch, 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 punch.
Yeah.
But here they're obviously outclassed against these Imperial elite fighters.
Now,
so
are
they-
those guys are those the Earth forces that was
The
attacking
thing-
them?
So the thing with this show is that I don't know what the fuck is going on with the political structure in this world. It's like I watched half of the show, half of the first season, and to that date, I kind of still don't know what the fuck Gallarhorn actually is.
I still have to watch the first episode because again, it's an information dump, and they kind of rush through. It's like, oh, this girl's she's basically a princess, but she's restoring the colonies and stuff like that.
Oh
So-
no, her daughter sold her out. Her father sold her out.
Yeah, so we'll get more into it as we go on, and the dad's totally dead, by the way. Like he's totally doomed. I haven't seen the show. I'm just placing the giant red flag on his forehead right now.
Oh, okay.
I'm not gonna. I'm going into this show fresh, so I'm just guessing right now. But just see after what he did, I'm just like, okay, you're a red shirt. You're officially a red shirt.
Hmm.
You're gonna be the guy in the plane that gets shot at the end of the promo.
Okay, so I think that does it for Gundam. So let's move on to Hunter x Hunter Episode 7, Showdown on the Airship. This is, I guess, it's the episode where we finally get we finally learned what his deal is.
Yeah, speaking of information dumps.
He's a fucking assassin, motherfucker. And Gon's just like, that's cool.
I would have gone actually believed him. Maybe he just thought he was just joking, and then he leaves. It's like, hey, want to do this fun game of Netero? And it's like, yeah, sure. I'm losing. I have to leave before I kill the guy.
Oh,
It's
you
not-
sweet summer child who actually thought you could fucking kill him.
Yeah, I think
Oh,
that
you-
Hi, I'm Netero. I'm a badass. Want to go play some balls?
Hi, I'm that old guy who will, later in the series, I'll just fuck up a whole bunch of people and you'll be like, what the fuck? But let's play ball.
Like he's introduced as a badass, and you know he's a badass. But this is an interesting. It just kind of shows his playful nature and stuff, but just how strong he is in that he basically takes the kick from an assassin and just doesn't even feel a damn thing. It's like
Like
whatever.
he first introduces them by he just fucks with them by flash stepping right past them.
Well, there's one thing about that flash step that does come into play later in the series. That is actually foreshadowing, but we'll get into that way deeper into the series.
Yeah,
And
I
so
liked it.
they played ball.
I thought it was a good episode. I like the playful nature of this series so far, and I know that like it apparently predates Naruto and some of these other shonens, but like it definitely like has that feel to me of like early Naruto or early One Piece, where it's like the characters are likable, and so that's why I'm invested. Like Gon, he could so easily be written wrong, but he isn't. He's like, even though he's kind of a dummy, he's so likable, and he's so like just such a cheery guy all the time that you can't help but not feel like, hey, he's so cool, you know?
Oh man.
I know I'm probably saying something that's not true, but that's how it feels to me right now. It's like he's so like such a cool character, and then I don't know, and I like that he was so eager to just sort of like play around with that guy, and even when the assassin kid left and he's got all rage quitted and everything. I
Now,
also too go ahead say.
I will say you are spot on about Gon. Right, you are spot on about Gon. The thing is about this series is all the main characters all go through an arc, and I think Gon and Klua, this episode is great at highlighting both of them as a team, because you kind of get about the kind of yin and yang personalities of them.
Yeah.
And Killua's, I think both the arcs kind of mirror each other as the series goes on. Killua, you can kind of see like they're both kind of fun-loving kids, but Killua obviously has this edge to him.
Well, he kills those like two guys for like just for looking at him wrong or bumping into him. I guess they bumped into him.
Like they bumped into him, and then they had the balls to be like, "Hey, why'd you bump into me? Why would you bump into us?" And then he's like, "I don't have fucking time for this shit."
Yeah. But Gon, while he's more cheerful, he's a lot more brash than the more calculating Killua, and he almost breaks his neck trying to take on Netero just to get him to lose a bet. But it was interesting to see how he threw him off, and also one of the funniest moments in the series is he actually gets him off guard and just bumps his head into the ceiling like an idiot.
Yeah, I like that. I love that moment, and I also, like you said, I love the moment too where he goes, "I got you to use your hand," because I didn't even see it. Like as a viewer, I didn't catch that until he said it, and I'm like, "Oh wow, that was cool."
So yeah, they played ball. That's the episode.
So yeah, I think we resumed the test next episode, and yeah, it's kind of funny watching just everybody. It's like at this point in the Hunter exam, if people are eliminated, they're usually dead.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I guess there's just no lawyers in this world because people just die wantonly all the time. Like,
I mean, the Hunter Association and the Hunters are probably just so powerful that nobody can fuck with them.
Is that how it is?
He's like, but we're basically just licensed superheroes, and we do whatever the fuck we want.
You get more, and we'll get more into this as the series progresses in the Hunter Association, especially the qualifications to become a hunter.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll see. Again, this is just the first arc. No reason to go down the road.
Right.
I just wanted to mention kind of the starting, especially to make points about take note of Gon and Killua's characters because they evolve over time as the series progresses.
Well, I'll definitely put that in the back of my mind as the series goes on. And going back to the bit about the people dying all the time, like I don't think it's necessary for me to enjoy this show for that to really have like a grounding. Like it's not important that it be explained in some serious way why people are willing to die to become it. But at the moment, it is funny to me because like it's just like how many people have died trying to do this now? Like those people decided that it was a real good chance that they were going to die. You know, the moment they entered this exam, and because that's all they've talked about the whole series. It's like nobody makes it through the exam, and all these people die. And
dude, the Hunter exam will kill you before you even get there.
But then
exactly.
Then
And
you have
so,
like,
what's it to me as an entry person to do it? It's like it doesn't seem worth it. I mean, I don't care how much fame and wealth you get from it. I don't know. That's the part that just kind of like, okay, whatever. It's just a silly show, I guess.
but again, I think the more you get into the show, you kind of get an idea of what hunters do and what they are in general, and why you have to be so much of a badass to be a hunter.
Okay.
So
So I'm pretty sure. Don't quote me on this, but the test resumes next week, and we'll have a
I
lot
mean,
more.
it should.
Uh, Also, they're on a blimp. Apparently, in the manga, they actually fought on top of the blimp, which had a little bit of aspect of danger.
Apparently, that was that was the earliest anime, which is it's kind of like it's like a FMA and FMA Brotherhood situation where all the tryhards are like, oh man, the 1993 anime was so much better.
Let's not get into that.
It's not.
Let's not start an anime wars. We have enough already.
Samurai Champloo.
Wait, before you go there, one last question, though, about Hunter x Hunter. I did not see the girl in this episode. Is she still, like, in the running or whatever?
Wait,
Which girl?
The one that was the judge last episode.
Oh,
the one
she's
that
on
had the hair.
She's on the
already-
blimp, but
Yeah,
she's
she's-
already a hunter.
Oh, she's already a hunter. But I thought they said something last episode that she had to go along with the take the test for some reason.
Just for that trial, because
Oh, okay.
it's a show of good faith, because after all, she failed all of them. So
Oh, okay, I got
she
you.
was she was about to explain to them, okay, this is what you have to do to pass this exam as my apology, but then everybody jumped off. It's like, what?
And then they
But you
died.
guys- yeah, all of them died.
That's the worst one yet. That was the one where 20 people literally dived to their death.
Just
and I was
four,
just
actually.
like,
4 people
okay.
died, I counted.
and I'm just like, okay, these guys clearly wouldn't have never have cut it because they had no brains to not think about what they were doing. Anyway, that was funny.
She was literally about to explain to him in like 20 seconds what you're supposed to do to grab that eggs too.
You think by that point they had seen a lot of other people die and might have gone, maybe I should be careful here. But nope. They just jump.
Man, and even get to the next arc, more people die.
Wow.
Anyway, Samurai Champloo, episode 22, Cosmic Collisions. It's the
I'll
one
give-
where it's the episode in the Watanabe show where the characters eat mushrooms and have a fucking trip.
I already said this before. I'm going to say it again. Pass.
You didn't watch it?
Oh, I watched it. I'm just passing.
All right, I'll say a few things. I did not like this episode. I've liked Samurai Champloo a lot up until this point, but this was a dumb episode. And I'll tell you what really bugged me about it was that there's been like some one-off episodes of stories, but there's always been this kind of continuity to it. And I don't know what it is about Watanabe and always inserting an episode or two into a series where like crazy stuff happens and everyone dies and you're just supposed to go, oh, okay, well that didn't happen. I don't like that. That seems like that's unfair to me as an audience. Like, don't drag me along. It was a cool-looking episode, and I was kind of going, what the heck is going on? But just to have it all blow up at the end and know that they're not going to treat it like anything happened just kind of felt like a cheat to me.
If you're gonna do that, it has to like happen every other episode, like in Space Dandy.
Yeah, and even with Space
Or in
Dandy,
the first episode, where it's like,
Yeah.
okay, it's this kind of show.
and even with Space Dandy, they eventually explained why that was happening. Like it had a payoff or a reason. But in this is just like they did the same thing with Space Dandy where everyone just died, and then like the next episode, oh, that didn't happen. And it's like, oh, come on, don't do that.
Yeah, I wasn't feeling the episode either, honestly.
I mean, that's why I passed on the show. I said pass because I hated this episode, but I know it's kind of a blinding hate. But if I could just dive into this and talk about Watanabe a little bit, this kind of reminds me of Toys in the Attic. It's not my favorite episode of Space Cowboy, of
Cowboy Bebop.
Cowboy Bebop, but
That's the one with the fridge monster, right?
yeah.
Yeah, that's the one
but
I was thinking of.
You can see the American influence to Alien in that one. This one was just kind of a generic zombie flick, and part of me, as someone who's seen a lot of horror movies, it felt like they did nothing really with this concept in this episode. Whereas in Space Dandy, they took the zombie premise and they just went with the nth degree on that one with the zombie life, afterlife, and it was
The
hilarious.
fucking narrator became a zombie.
And that's not to say that Champloo isn't a comedy, because it does have funny moments in it, but it's definitely a more serious show than even Space Dandy ever was. And so to treat this show like it can just be a funny episode like that, where
Don't you mean Cowboy Bebop?
well,
It's more serious than Cowboy Bebop ever was, because nobody would ever call Space Dandy a serious show.
well, yeah, that's a better comparison. But like, I don't know, it seemed like I was robbed as an audience member, because I kept wanting to see them wake up from the mushrooms, or to like have those guys having been pretending to be zombies or something, and it didn't happen. It's just like, oh, episode over, the end, and I was like, eh.
Well,
So anyway,
next week we get baseball.
Yes! Sorry.
oh, and I was going to ask too. I mean, I was just assuming there is no continuity to this episode, right?
I mean, there
Okay.
can't be. The
Is
Earth
there?
gets destroyed by a meteor.
Well, just that area, I'd assumed was an atomic blast.
I mean, a meteor that size, that is definitely a mass extinction level event, man.
It was-
Almost.
But everybody's praising this next episode, so I'm looking forward to it.
yeah, I'm not going to say anything about it. It's a baseball episode, though, as he already gave away. We'll see,
Okay.
but you'll see.
Anyway, on to the fucking worst thing ever. Naruto Shippuden episode 114, Eye of the Hawk.
It was
in
better
this
than last
episode-
week. I will say
in
that.
In this episode, Orochimaru is off-screened. I think we could just leave it at that.
Yeah, I didn't. I was gonna say I've seen worse Shippuden episodes than this. I mean, I'll give it these props before I dig into it. Things happened.
Oh, yeah.
Particularly an important thing happened. I would assume that what's his face died, and that Sasuke absorbed him, I guess, or whatever. I don't know what was going on there, but at least something happened. Like, it wasn't just like spinning its wheels. So I give it that, and it wasn't terribly animated. It was fine, but
It wasn't tap recap either, which is great.
Yeah.
There was all like new flashbacks, new tentacle porn.
Yeah,
For
I
some
did.
reason.
Oh, I forgot about the part. I guess I had removed that from my memory. But yeah, it was like, what was it, like 5 or 6 minutes of constant just flashbacks to the previous series, and that wasn't good. But I don't know. I mean, it wasn't good. I don't like this show in general, obviously, because it's just so like I'm supposed to care about this, and I can't bring myself to care about it. It's like really. Like someone took somebody's favorite Naruto fan fiction and then just animated it. That's what it
God.
feels like to me. I don't know.
Animate me some more. Kishi. I love that. I love that comic.
Yeah, that one where he's like, I love it when you draw me, or whatever. Yeah. That's what the show feels like. It really does. And it's like, I keep waiting for the moments where people are like, oh, it gets good. And there have been like 1 or 2 little moments throughout the series where I'm like, oh, that was such a good episode.
It was like that one episode where Sakura fought Puppet Guy and the Immortals arc, and that's fucking it.
It does start shaping up soon enough. I will say this without going into too much detail.
Okay. I totally want to believe you on that, but I've heard that so many times at this point. Like, oh, it gets better.
Well, no. I'm not going to say like in the next episode. It's probably going to be bad for a little while, but I will say one of my favorite arcs comes when some serious shit goes down. Let's just leave it at that. And we're getting up to that point in this next stretch of episodes before we hit filler. So
it would definitely help this show to get back to the battles, because at this point I do not care about the Sasuke being trained thing.
Well, the Sasuke being trained thing is basically done now. Thank God.
I mean, it's over. He ate Orochimaru off screen.
Good.
Can I just state how stupid the final forms are? I was laughing the whole time.
What was Sasuke? What was that?
Hawk. I just call him Hands Hawk.
Oh, that's supposed to be the Hawk? That the title of the episode's about?
The Hawk. I think he's supposed to be the Hawk, and Orochimaru's always supposed to be the snake. or whatever the hell that is. Like some.
He just looked like a goofy monster to me. I did not catch
It
that
looked-
as a hawk.
It looked like some snake thing. They just slapped a wig on it. It's hilarious. Yes, I'm so threatening. I'm a snake with a wig.
And then they introduced this like intestine-filled wasteland that he apparently is sucking him up, and then have the worst dialogue where they go, "This is the place where I will consume you. This is the ritual that happens when I consume you." And it's just
I created this dimension! How can you beat me? Because I have fucking Sharingan, and the fucking Sharingan does anything I want.
That and oh my god, it's just how baffling they built Orochimaru to be this big threat for the longest time in the anime, like this huge threat, and you see him like in the Akatsuki, and then he gets jobbed so hard. It's kind of depressing.
And whenever they have these moments where they're like cut to this weird intestine place, and I just go, I don't understand this world. Like, I don't get it. Like, I don't know. Weren't we talking about ninjas? What is this? Like, it's so weird sometimes.
Naruto Shippuden is a show. Naruto
Wow, this is
Shippuden.
beyond.
Naruto Shippuden is a show about ninjas, which has the pacing and kind of like the atmosphere of fucking Flying Witch.
I have no clue what you're talking about.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't get that.
Nobody. I'm the only one here who's watching Flying Witch, and okay, sure, fine. Fuck it. We're moving on. We'll do it live.
We've been doing it live, you idiot. Move on.
Oh no! Oh fuck!
Ethered.
One Piece, episode 348. Appearing from the sky, that man is the humming swordsman.
Yo ho 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 ho.
Finally, Brook is back! Finally!
It's kind of funny, like, Brooke comes back and so does the quality.
Yeah, Ian
It's literally
Sinclair is nailing it. Like, I just love it. He is so good as Brooke.
Let's talk about Binks' sake. He
Binks'
freaking
brew.
nails Binks' brew in this version.
Yeah.
Because Americans don't know what the fuck sake is, and that's okay.
Well, no, I liked it better, though, because it rhymed. Like, I like the Binks brew just saying it that way. I don't know.
It works great. The song works great.
I think it's awesome, and yeah, he's so good. I mean, I remember when I didn't know anything about One Piece, and I always saw that character like in pictures and stuff, and I always thought, what is this skeleton character? And then I saw a little bit of it like once where like it was just the Japanese, and I didn't get it, you know. And then I saw the dub now, and I've seen Ian Sinclair, and I'm like, I like this character. He's cool. I like him a lot. I'm not really sure why I like Brooke, but there's something about him. He's cool.
So I'm not the only one who's current on One Piece here, right?
Well, you have to remember, everybody watching it, we're going to just pretend we're going in fresh. But Brooke's an enjoyable character.
You know who's not an enjoyable character?
The Spider Monkey?
Fucking Warthog.
Oh.
Lola. Yeah. The Lola is... Yeah.
She would be fine in much smaller doses.
Yeah. Seda...
I think
hates his character, and I don't blame him one bit. And I will say that if he's listening to this, you don't have to deal with her much more after this. So,
just like everything in this arc, everything involving Absalom and his circle of plot is kind of terrible.
Unnecessary would be the word I use. Yeah.
Yeah. But
except Lola is ironically not as unnecessary.
In like 6 years, yeah.
Yeah, but we're getting to Kishi Shishi soon enough.
Oh yeah. So also in this episode, Nami said she was a man, and Chopper bought it hook, line, and sinker.
That was cute, but also kind of unbelievable because I'm sure he's worked on her as a doctor. But yeah, pretty funny.
Because Chopper is the world's biggest dumbass.
Well, no, he's just a sucker. He's just a sucker. He's a smart sucker. He believes anything.
I was surprised that they gave him the age of 17 because I always interpreted him as maybe 10 years old.
Yeah. And really? He's 17?
I think his official age is 17.
Wow. Okay. But I don't know how that works when you're a half reindeer.
I always interpret him as just a super smart 10-year-old because that's basically what his character is. He's super sweet, and he's
Yeah.
controllable.
Yeah, he's just like Luffy believes the same stuff. Like if Luffy had been standing there, he would have said the same thing.
Yeah. And then
So
I'm gonna
also in
punch
this
him now.
episode, Luffy finally comes face to face with Moria, and Moria is a bowling pin with legs.
We'll get more into Moria later, but I do want to talk about Brooks's. We gotta get a peek into Brooks's fighting style, which is basically Ken from Fist of the North Star. You're already dead.
Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
that's it. That is his special technique. He does the I took 3 steps, and then only then do you realize that I slashed you.
He's like something, arrow, sword, slash, or something, and then gets him
It's,
every time.
Soul slash.
It's 3-verse humming, arrow notch slash.
Yeah. Pretty cool.
Also, Frankie put nunchucks into columns and whacked around a giant spider, and that was fucking awesome.
That and
Yeah.
bondage with Robin. Yay.
Somebody in the thread was really happy to see that. There's somebody in the thread who just loves Robin.
I love Robin.
Lazy bones.
I just wish there's. I can't go into much. I like Robin as a character, but I don't want to get too much into it. Besides that,
But there was some very deliberate sort of fan servicey moments in this episode, I think.
Robin has a very funny moment later on in this arc. But
She has one of the funniest moments in the show later on in this arc.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Something to look forward to.
Yeah. But yeah. There's big plans with Luffy, and we're gonna find out more about the next episode to the Shadow's final destination. So things are about to get real with
Shit
this.
gets real. And
Yeah. That's something again. For people who, because I've seen it now, but for people who haven't seen it, I think the last 3 or 4 episodes have been kind of like just spinning the wheels of like, oh, okay, whatever. Still introducing people, still doing the stupid Lola chasing people stuff. Like next episode is literally when it starts again. Like it's the one where we're now back into, like, even though this stuff was canon, it didn't feel like it. But once you see next episode going forward, it is all canon going forward.
Yeah. I mean, it was it was basically just spinning its wheels until between Brooke leaving and Brooke coming back, they had a bunch of great comedy moments. They got onto the island, they introduced the villains, and I mean, it's not nothing. It's just, once they got that out of the way, there was a string of like 3 episodes where fucking nothing happened.
Yeah. And this is the thing, Oda. I love Oda. Usually, obviously, I'm a big One Piece fanboy, but oftentimes when he starts an arc, he just throws so many characters at the wall, just sees what sticks. Luckily, most of them stick, but then you get to pick characters like Lola, and it's just like, oh god, why?
And Absalom. I think Absalom might be the most disliked major villain in the series.
Yeah,
I mean, not like
that.
major villain, but like,
forgettable
antagonist in an arc.
Yeah, he's just sort of like there, and I've even having seen this arc, I don't really understand what his point is. He's just sort of like a guy. Even Hogback has more to offer to the story, really.
Yeah, and more to offer to like Chopper's character.
Yeah.
That whole thing plays off brilliantly, but we'll get to that eventually.
Anyway, I think that's it for the block.
You don't want to talk.
Fuck Parasite.
I think that's everybody at this point. Even though it was one of the better episodes.
Well, Parasite. What I didn't watch the episode because I already see it, and I don't need to see it again. I mean, there are very few shows that I will
watch again.
Actually watch again, and even less few shows that I would watch a marathon of. I mean, if they ever got JoJo and did a JoJo marathon, I'd be in.
Like
they did a One Punch Man marathon, I'd be in. If they did a One Piece marathon that wasn't those episodes they showed, I would be in.
I think the next marathon they'll probably do would probably be Hunter x Hunter.
Probably.
That makes sense, yeah.
Hunter x Hunter, 4th of July, Hunter x Hunter. Because they wouldn't have enough episodes to do Gundam.
Did you just say Hunter x Hunter?
I'm sorry, it's just a force of habit. I just always call it Hunter x Hunter.
I do too. I don't know any better either.
They might just do a DBZ Kai marathon again for 4th of July, honestly.
But they just did a DBZ Kai.
Yeah.
Would there be even enough episodes to do?
Well, why not do it again? When did they do the DBZ Kai marathon last?
The Memorial Day Marathon, I thought it was DBZ. Or was that another series?
No, Memorial Day Marathon was Samurai Champloo.
Oh, that's right. And the marathon before that was DBZ.
Whatever holiday was before that, I don't remember what it was.
Hold on. Marathon.
While he's looking that up, though, I think you're right, though. I think Hunter makes the most sense for the next one.
So there have been quite a few different marathons between the last time DBZ had a marathon. I mean, outside of the Power Hour,
Oh,
there
maybe
were
that's why the
the last few marathons were Samurai Champloo, One Piece, Akame ga Kill, Michiko and Hachin, and then you get DBZ-a-thon.
Yeah, you're right. I'm probably thinking of that 2-up thing they did. That
the last
the last July 4th. July 4th was the last time they did a DBZ marathon. So about time.
Yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe they'll do it again just for the.
But I think they might do Hunter x Hunter. Sure, why not?
I imagine the next DBZ marathon they want to do would probably be the end of the saga. Because that's what they did.
I mean, they don't do it like that. Really, they do it when they have a holiday weekend they want to get out of the way of.
That is true. Yeah.
Oh yeah, one more thing though. We were talking before we recorded too about what we thought maybe might be filling, or I don't remember if we talked about it on the show or not about what might be filling Shampoo's or slot.
We did. We
did. Okay. Well, what about Super? I mean, where's Super in all this?
Super is probably not coming until. I mean, I kind of tend to agree now that they're waiting for Boo Arc to finish. Because we're definitely gonna get Boo Arc later this year.
They announced a dub for that too. So.
And it's like, I guess Super is not gonna replace Samurai Champloo. I'm sorry. I mean, they haven't even announced. It still hasn't even been licensed. I don't think.
I don't think so either. Someone hopefully can correct us in the thread, but and plus it's gonna be super expensive. I'm not sure if Toei's just holding on to the rights, but I imagine Funimation must be gunning for it. Because we're about 46 episodes into this.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I can't believe it isn't available. It seems like it's.
Who the fuck knows, man? Toei is fucking weird.
But if I had to, my bet for the next show to premiere, I don't care what anybody says, it's going to probably be One Punch Man.
I don't, like I said earlier in the podcast.
I don't care about your excuses. It's my bet, and that's what I'm saying, period.
Okay, well, everybody's named the show you want next. Not whether it could happen, but which one do you want?
JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
Okay. I'd go for One Punch Man.
Damn. I like both. Realistically, One Punch Man. Dream though, it's JoJo.
Which one, though? Start at the beginning or like the latest one, or?
I mean, I think so. Regarding JoJo, it depends on what Viz decides to do with their dub. If they decide to dub Part 3 first, then Toonami will probably start with Part 3. And if they decide to do Parts 1 and 2 first, then Toonami will start with Parts 1 and 2.
We're gonna miss Best Joe if we start with Part 3.
Oh man, don't remind me, and also don't remind me how insufferable the Joseph Joestar fans are going to be next week or this week. Nah.
Anyways.
Anyway. Oh, did I insult you without meaning to there?
Huh? What? No. I haven't seen any Part 4, so I have no clue what's coming.
Well, you saw the latest episode, right?
Oh yeah, I saw the JoJo's spaghetti punching adventure.
But you saw the end of the episode, right?
Yeah, I know.
So Joseph's coming back.
Duh.
and the JoJo Banga thread is like, oh man, this is going to be good when the JoJo fanboys see what happens to Joseph, or what Joseph's like now.
They've been dragging Joseph in the mud since the start, but it doesn't matter.
Anyway,
is Joseph the one who always goes, "Oh my God"? Or whatever?
And,
oh my God!
Yeah, that's him.
Anyway, now we're starting to hit at future events of shows that aren't even on the fucking block, so it's time to end it.
Yeah.
That's usually the time to end.
We'll finish talking about Toonami, but next week's another big event. It's E3. Do you guys want to say anything about E3, or?
I'm going to be having a little E3 party with my friends at my apartment. I'm actually taking off Monday.
I took 2 days off of work.
Actually, I'm off Monday and Tuesday, yeah.
I would like somebody in the thread to say if you want E3 talk on Toonami podcast, I'm up for it next week. If you guys are up for it, because it'll be right after. If it's the Tuesday, it's right after the Sony Microsoft press conferences.
Well, those are on Monday. Tuesday, we're doing it on Tuesday, so it'll be like after the Zelda stream.
Yeah. So we'll have lots to
Which
talk
is now
about.
no longer just Zelda because they realized that was fucking insane.
I was about to say, thank God.
Wait, whoa! I didn't hear about this. No, but let's not do that here though. That's another podcast probably.
It turns out they will. It turns out they will actually be talking about other games than Zelda at E3.
Okay, well that's smart.
Because they actually have to come to E3 and pretend to be a still existing video game company.
Yeah, they can't leave the Wii U dead and buried like they intended to.
Oh, they'll leave it dead and buried. They'll just be talking about Zelda and 3DS games.
I don't know why. Do they have nothing for the NX to show off? I guess not.
I mean, I guess it was a thing where, like, either it just wasn't fucking ready, or they thought they were going to get eaten up by, like 0.5 console announcements, and they just decided to get out of the way. I don't know what happened.
Nintendo is such an abusive relationship with me at this moment. Like, there's something I love, and then they do something I completely hate.
Man, fucking NX better be good, because when you look at the sales numbers, outside of the Wii, every single successive console has sold less than the previous one.
Yeah, it's pretty dismal.
It's like, goodly, the Wii is the only thing that breaks that trend. And it's like, man, trends tend to continue, so logic would say that the NX will probably, unless it's a huge smash success, will probably sell. I mean, if it's not a huge smash success, its peak is lower than Wii U. And that's fucking terrible.
I hope the company doesn't go under, because I honestly.
I mean, they can't go under because they have so much money, but it's kind of like with if the Wii U fails and the NX fails, it's like, now what?
Well, they go third party, but we don't want that to happen.
I think they would go pure handheld mobile before they go third party.
Well, yeah, I could see that too. But I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to hypothesize too much, but I think that, yeah, I'm surprised to hear. I shouldn't be, but I'm surprised to hear that they're not going to stick to their guns about only showing Zelda, because Nintendo, if anything, is stubborn about what they do. They just do their own thing. So
well, it was such a stupid thing to do that there was.
It is, but even they seem kind of blind to their own bad decisions sometimes.
Right. It's like it kind of feels at this point that like companies that only like Nintendo is like the last major console thing that basically is primarily based in Japan. Like Sony is a Japanese company, but they have so much influence from the rest of the world that they're the rest of the world actually gets into that Japanese boardroom and it's like, hey guys, do this. I kind of feel like Nintendo is stuck where they just can't get out of this Japan-centric way of thinking, and it's like, I'm sorry, but Japan just doesn't fucking matter anymore. Your economy's been shit for a while, and
on this Toonami podcast, we start a war with Japan.
Hey, their economy's been shit for a while. That's just a fact.
My problem with Nintendo for a while now is that they apparently don't want to spend money on developers. Like they spend like 15 years making a game. It's a joke. Like, I don't understand why it takes them so long. All they need to do is just get some more new blood in there, and they could pump out more franchises.
I mean, they polish their first party games to a fucking mirror sheen, and I don't mind that they take so long between major game installments. It's just the simple fact is that third parties will never ever, as long as Nintendo is making different consoles than your standard PS4, PlayStation, Xbox thing, the third parties will just never come because they don't want to deal with it.
Yeah.
They just want to be like, okay, we've made this game and then we put it on all the systems, we're done. They don't want to have to do the extra work of even when the Wii was successful, they still just did shovelware.
Yeah, but they should be spending. They should be spending their money on getting more first-party developers then, or whatever. Because I agree with you. I love the polish on Nintendo games. That's the one saving grace of Nintendo to me right now, is that their games are really good when they make them. Too bad they make two, a year or whatever.
Yeah.
It's kind of a joke.
It's just like, man. Also, I kind of feel like their bigger problem right now is that they do new things just to do new things, and it's like, sometimes you just have to accept that you perfected a while back and just do that.
Yeah, I've definitely set my expectations very low for NX because
I
I'm
also
thinking.
wish they would take
Go ahead.
notes from other consoles too, because they've been lagging behind online, and that's really killing them now.
But I think the thing is they feel like they have to be different, but the reality is they can't be different because nobody wants their different thing because, for all intents and purposes, the home video game console was perfected. Like, at least by the time the Xbox 360 came out, it's like, okay, this is what the home video game console is.
Yeah, this is what the home video game console is, a PC.
Like in a boxed up PC that you don't have to don't have to finagle with. And it's like, if you do something wildly different from the 360, nobody fucking wants that.
It is a shame that they're not going to talk about NX, though, because it would have really made for an exciting E3 to have all three major players talking about hardware, if that's what happens.
Yeah, I kind of checked out on Nintendo as soon as they said only Zelda's. Like, oh, really? Oh, my God.
Are we in a kind of a situation where now Nintendo is, on a completely different generational schedule?
Pretty much.
Although, who knows if the generation thing is done and done with.
It's weird, though, because you have to remember, like, PlayStation's going to be announcing a new console, probably.
Possibly.
Xbox 360.
Well, PlayStation, I feel like
Xbox One now.
I mean, their new, more powerful console that's still a big thing, but it's nothing compared to what Microsoft seems to be. Microsoft seems to be like, okay, fuck it. Xbox isn't even a console anymore. It's just our unified OS, and also we're going to try to take over PC gaming because we own Windows.
And the thing that pisses me off is now Xbox. Like, I understand Xbox One is now basically is like here's the Xbox One Plus, which is basically PS4, and PS4 is like, oh, here's PS4 Plus. And does this mean that I'm gonna have to buy a new console, or am all my games gonna be running suboptimal until they finally force me to buy a new console?
I think in the best case scenario, if you believe all these rumors and this all comes to pass, I think the best case scenario is that the games you'll be playing next year on your current console will be the best games you could have played on that console. But if you bought the new console, they'll look better, and that's really the best case scenario.
That's for PlayStation 4, PlayStation Neo, because the Xbox thing, they seem to be going full iPhone.
Yeah.
In what way?
Like, hey, this is just better. Fuck you. Buy it.
In short, console gaming's fucked.
PS4, because the PS4 plan is like, okay, we're gonna their plan was absolutely do nothing that would piss off old PS4 owners, because there's 40 million of those things. So
yeah,
and I get that, and but I even think like there's a lot of people who are thinking, oh well, that just means developers will get lazy and then they'll just poo-poo, the original PS4. Their games will run on it, but it won't be a great experience. That's that's possible. I can see that, but then I kind of hope that Sony would step up and go, no, there's standards. It's got to be good. You can't just drop 20 frames.
People have been saying that maybe Neo is like, hey, it's for VR, but it's like, well, if VR runs terribly on the standard PS4, remember, they're not going to allow you to put a game only on PS4 Neo. It has to be on, regular PS4, and they can't, assumingly, they can't have VR exclusive to one or the other. So
if they announce these consoles next weekend, or next week, then I think the way that they talk about them is going to be so incredibly important. That's going to make or break them, because if they come out on stage and say it in a way that makes sense to people, they'll be like, oh, okay, I get it. But if they come out and say it the wrong way and they're like, $599, yeah, and you gotta get it. No, that's not going to fly. I think people are going to be really upset. And I think it's all about the wording. It's all going to come down to the wording.
I can't say I don't hope that they fail, because it's like, man, iPhone model for consoles is fucking bullshit.
Yeah, I'm not excited for it. What I would like, and this isn't going to happen, I don't know what will happen, what am I saying? But what would be cool to me is if they just released a PS4K that did nothing but allow me to stream 4K video. If that's all it did and play 4K Blu-ray, I would be happy with that. I don't need an upgraded PS4. I just don't need
For
it.
that, they can just say, hey, it's a new well, we have this 4K stuff. Here's a new PS4 that can play it.
Exactly.
If that's your thing. If that's your thing. The PS4, the regular PS4 is still completely amazing.
Yeah.
But then, of course, if they say that, if they go too far to appease regular PS4 owners, nobody's going to buy the PS4 Neo because it's, nobody needs it. And if they, differentiate it too much, people are going to be like, what the fuck? Yeah. I don't want to buy your shit. I don't want to buy your shit.
I think the problem that a lot of people are falling into, and I even found myself falling into this trap, is thinking that we're set in our mindset as console gamers to think, okay, new console, time to upgrade. And I think what they're trying to do with this, I'm not sure, but I think what they're trying to do with this is say, oh, no, you don't have to upgrade. It's just that if you're buying a new one, you can spend a little more and get the better version.
Kind of like the PS2 thin.
Yeah, and I don't think that console gamers in general are open to that because we like our console generation idea.
If we wanted that shit, we would have bought a PC.
Exactly. Yeah. I think they're trying to put that on it, and I don't think it's going to fly, but I don't know. Who's to say? I don't think the iPhone analogy is apt though, because the
iPhone thing is for sure what Microsoft is wanting to do. They don't want to make a new console. They just want to endlessly iterate, and then eventually, just kind of in a nebulous time, certain old consoles are just obsolete.
But see, the problem with the iPhone analogy, and my friend brought this up to me just the other day, that is kind of like a duh, is that iPhones are subsidized. You don't spend $300 or $400 on a new iPhone when you upgrade.
I don't think Microsoft thought that far ahead. I mean, never assume that they thought that through. They just saw, hey, Apple gets people to pay multiple hundreds of dollars for their new device every year, but it's like, okay, first off, they'll pay that for a smartphone, which does fucking everything in your life. But
it's a necessity.
You're giving out a console. It's a luxury. It does one thing. Yeah. And then second of all, people don't actually buy iPhones every single year.
Yeah, because their contract isn't up.
They buy it every 3 or 2 years.
Yeah. Again, I don't think the money works because, again, it only works if they try to sell it on this idea that oh no, you don't have to upgrade. It's just for new people to buying it for the first time. Then it might make sense monetarily. But for console gamers like us who've been using consoles forever, I want the latest and greatest. And you're telling me I got to buy it every other year now? No, I don't know about that.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, it's in that case, it's well, fuck it, PC time. I mean, they're basically trying to make it the same thing anyway.
It'll be exciting, whatever they announce.
Anyway, we've gone so far off topic, we're still on the air.
What are you talking about? I brought up the E3 thing just for this reason.
Yeah.
It's time to go. All right. Oh. Thank you very much for being here.
Okay. Just vote in the thread if you want us to talk about some E3 stuff next week, because there's going to be a lot to talk about.
But you're not going to be here, right?
Oh, I'll be here next week. I'm not going to be here July, but that's a whole nother thing.
Well, I mean, the thing is that you're the SATA replacement.
Well, Sada's going to probably transition to my spot.
Well, Sada's not going to be back next week, he said, so you will be on next week.
Okay, good. Okay. It's nice to know I haven't been voted off the island yet.
You've been voted off the island. Not yet. And C. Kohler, thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Your stuff. Your graphics are good. Your thread graphics. Thank you very much.
Oh yeah, thank you.
That was very helpful.
They're fun. I don't do them every week, but I like doing them from time to time.
Yep. Maybe just do them every time a lineup.
We appreciate them. We just wanted to communicate that.
Maybe every lineup change.
Well, definitely. Then, yeah, absolutely. New shows, always expect them.
Okay, so that'll be it for episode 10 of the ToonamiGAF podcast. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.